It may become one of the classic coinages of modern American politics, like where's the beef or there you go again. The fear bomb. Our fourth story on the countdown, the Republican National Committee formally denouncing the tactic well after its use by various bullies with a microphone and the Tennessee state GOP. Michelle Obama has often referred to the fear bomb used against her husband in the 2004 Senate race. Today, she said it's happening again.
They threw in the obvious ultimate fear bomb that we're even hearing now. They said his name. They said, look out for his name. When all else fails, be afraid of his name and what that could stand for, because it's different.
Using Senator Barack Obama's name as a ploy that he is a Muslim when in fact he is Christian, that he is otherwise un-American. It is not new, indeed. Comedian Rush Limbaugh has done it beginning at least a year ago. Local radio host Bill Cunningham 2 days ago did it as a warm-up act for Senator John McCain. In fact, previously he'd invented on air a fictional extra middle name, Mohammed. But the latest incarnation comes from the Tennessee Republican Party in a statement released earlier this week, quoting, concerned about the future of the nation of Israel if Senator Barack Hussein Obama is elected president of the United States. Thus the middle name used to stoke a false specter of anti-Semitism. Today, the Republican National Committee formally denounced the Tennessee GOP's use of Senator Obama's full name, and the Tennessee GOP altered its statement. The new statement also removed a reference to a photo of Obama wearing what it had inaccurately described as Muslim garb, but it incorrectly maintains that Obama is linked to Minister Louis Farrakhan and is anti-Israel. Let's call in Newsweek magazine senior editor, MSNBC political analyst Johnathon Alter. John, good evening.
Hi, Keith.
Is not a crucial part of the dynamic here that Republicans as an institution can pretend, or if you prefer, maintain this high road? The RNC statement today that denounced this in Tennessee, McCain denouncing Bill Cunningham, but that has absolutely nothing to do with right-wing hacks using this. And besides this, the GOP can have it both ways and let it happen and then denounce it after the fact. I mean, this essence of the Swift boat process applied to something a little more heinous, in fact?
Yeah, I think the difference from the Swift boating is that in that case you had two different groups with two very different interpretations of the facts. I believe that, the merits rested with those who supported Kerry, but nonetheless, there was a dispute over what had happened during the Vietnam War. This is not a dispute over facts. This is an internet lie that a lot of people believe. Even Ross Perot believed it until he called me up a few weeks ago, and I told him to his surprise that no, Obama was not a Muslim, which he said he was happy to hear. So in some cases, you're just talking about people who have not been paying close attention, are inclined to conspiracy theories, and there will be a process of education that will take place over time. And eventually, this will never be totally removed from the process, but it will be marginalized, and I don't think it'll dominate the way the Swift boating did.
Well, this calls to mind, your story about Perot calls to mind the story of the Republican Party committee in Clark County in Washington, which posted this biography, which was based off this internet rumor, this mass email, describing him as a Muslim, saying he was sworn in on the Quran. And the idiot there said he thought it was all true. Boy, he was surprised when it turned out that it wasn't. Is there any evidence of that in Tennessee? And could people at that level of the Republican Party really use stupidity as a defense in this?
Yeah, well, I think they will, or at least they'll use the internet defense, because people believe if I read it on the internet, it must be true, as opposed to something in the newspaper or magazine, which must be media bias, So there is that whole, assumption on the part of a lot of Americans. And there's, excuse me, there's also a lot of ignorance. Today, I went to an Obama event in Beaumont, and he passed out leaflets. These are to Obama supporters that showed him in church. And he mentioned in his speech that he goes to church and prays to Jesus. Because even among loyal Democrats, there is misinformation about Obama. People just haven't been paying close attention. They're only now tuning in. And they, hear about his middle name, and they believe what their neighbor told them, that he's a Muslim and was sworn in on the Quran, even though that was Congressman Ellison from Minnesota, not Barack Obama. So once people get more educated, this will recede. It will never entirely disappear, in the same way that if you go back in earlier elections, it's kind of ironic. In the 1920 election, for instance, there were a lot of rumors circulated that Warren Harding was actually black. And all the way up to Election Day, there were a lot of Americans who believed, ooh, Warren Harding is really black. But he was elected president anyway, overwhelmingly. So most people are smart enough, to sort these things out.
Wow. Now that's a misunderstanding right there. Last point,
Yeah.
when even Karl Rove says, "Don't do this," it makes Republicans look racist. Could this continuing throughout the campaign, could it ultimately work to the Obama campaign's advantage because because it's there now, he gets to work up those defenses, if you will, against it, or reactions to it, like passing out those flyers that you mentioned today, and B, it does in fact make those who spread it look racist.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, there are some dangers here. For instance, Obama's relationship with his church and his pastor, who has some people in his family who had some praise for Farrakhan. So there will be issues that will have to be sorted out here. But generally speaking, I think this could rebound to his favor if John McCain has to constantly denounce people in his own party for being racist. That's not where McCain wants to be going forward.
Yeah, and then have to prove that you didn't meet the guy when you said you didn't meet him, and he said, no, we met twice before, and they knew this was coming. Johnathon Alter of Newsweek and MSNBC. As always, great. Thanks, John.